So today we are going to see the behavior based observations process. So the behavior based safety observation process, it's always easy to know and also difficult to implement. Worldwide nowadays, the BBS is one of the major area of safety to very concerned about the organization to prevent any kinds of accidents, incidents, near misses, and it's a proactive steps and proactive safety measures for any kind of industries. Nowadays, you see, due to the mechanical world and the fast world, the people in a hurry-burry mood and always in a mechanical life, it leads to human errors, emotions, fear, stress, tension, and then life, the struggles all seen in workplace pressures. So the pressures on human beings makes the biggest safety issues nowadays. So that's why the behavior-based safety is one of the major area needs to be concerned. Here we are going to see the basic thinking and basic knowing about the behavior-based observations, behavior-based safety observation process, how it starts, how it ends. So that's the major part we have to see. This is a basic step to know it. Being a safety professional, if you are knowing this one, it's easy to implement and easy to observe the things. That's what people are always learn. So to avoid any kind of accidents, it's required more knowledge and implementations. That's what people always proactive to prevent any kinds of accidents, incidents, near misses, anything you can prevent by knowing the behavior-based safety observations. Worldwide, this behavior-based safety observations proactively followed. Thanks for watching this one. We'll exactly start 3 o'clock about the proceedings of the behavior-based safety observations. Hi, this is Marimuthu Kandivadi. We are live for the behavior-based safety observation process. So the behavior-based safety observation process itself, it's a very professional way we have to do it because it's dealing with the human beings. The human beings is always needs to be careful about their respect, about their values, about their rights. So that's why when you are observing the humans and employees, it needs lot of professional attitude and professionalism. When you have a professional attitude, then only you can observe the human risk behaviors. That's what this BBS says. That is, BBS is always respecting the human values, human emotions, human behavior patterns. So that's why it's a small, simple process. That process makes the this program is easy to learn and easy to deliver, easy to implement. So here this process is like a ladder, So here behavior based safety observation process first starts with establish, then train, then encourage, use data fourth, follow up fifth, and inspect is a sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6 steps is what the behavior based safety observations talks about. So, what you can establish the rules for observations, because human always very sensitive and we need to respect the human beings personal, their rights, their values, their respect. So you have to see in a humble way, and you have to make it in a professional way to observe the people. That's why first when you are starting to establish rules for observations, and you have to give the intention who all going to observe the behavior based safety observations, who are going to observe the employee's behavior. He has to give we have to give the intention for the guys, for the people, how to behave, how to observe, what action you have to observe. You cannot simply observe all the personal things and everything. You cannot observe. You have to observe based on the professional attitude. That things you have to observe. So that's why you have to make a rules for observations. What you have to do it, what you should not do it during the observation of the employees. So here we are talking about the behavior of the persons, employees during the work time. So you cannot observe the person's personal things, personal aspirations, their personal issues. You cannot mix with the personal issues. So you have to observe the people in a way to look at professional behavior attitude. So that's why you have to make a rules how you have to observe and what you have to observe, where you have to observe, and what are the area you have to be concerned, what are the risk behaviors you have to observe, what actions you have to observe from the employees, and also what you can record. There should be a record. What actions you have to record. So that things you have to establish first in the organization itself. After that, train. The second part is training. So after establishing the intention, rules and regulations, and what are the actions you have to observe, and what record you have to done, then you have to train the employees how to conduct observations. This is rules. Next is the training. The employees who is going to observe another employee's behavior, that is behavior based safety. In that case, who are going to observe, that person needs to be trained by means of how to conduct observation. So these things the employees to be trained. Training must be given how to observe, what you have to observe, what way you have to observe, what are the activity you have to observe, what action you have to observe, how the professional way you have to observe, what are the areas you have to observe, where you have to observe. These are the things, we can say 5 W's. So these things you have to train for employees who is going to observe the behaviors. So once you give the training, then he know it. He should not enter the personal emotional values of the persons. He has to observe the behavior pattern during the working hours and the areas where the risk behaviors are appeared. That area he has to observe. This training to given the employees who's going to the observe behavior based safety. Then second training. Then third one encouragement. Establish, train and encouragement. What encourage? They have to, the management and overall the management needs to encourage the staffs to participate the behavior based observations, because sometimes it's new to the organizations. It's very new to the organizations about the observations of employees. Sometimes it's emotional values. It's touching the human rights. It's touching the value of the person, respect of the person. So the management and top management, everyone needs to encourage the people to participate for a proactive safety measures to prevent any kind of accidents, incidents and big loss, for loss prevention. So for anything you have to ask the employees participate. If someone observing and asking some questions during the working hours, during the risk areas, when a person working in a risk working area, someone is observing, then you have to encourage them. So that kind of encouragement required. So that's why it's called the staff members actively participate in this BBS, behavior based safety observations. Whether the observing person and the activity doing person, both of them needs to be encouraged. So the encouragement only give the proper results. Okay, someone is observing, I am doing something wrong, then he wants me to correct that behavior, the risk behavior. If I am not using the right tool for right work, means someone observing and telling that it's not the way to use the tool. You have to use the correct tool for the correct job. The same thing, if someone tells you should not do the shortcut work, you have to do the systematic work. Someone observing means, okay, he can give the best answer whether I am doing the exact correct work or not. So this kind of encouragement required from the employees. So encouragement is very, very important. That is the third point. Then fourth one, use data. Then how you can use the, so during the observations, he can observe the data based on the data. For example, X, Y, Z. X doing the welding work, Y doing the gas cutting work, and Z doing the forklift operations. So welding, gas cutting and Z forklift. So these three activities observed through the behavior based observations. In this behavior based observations, so welding, X guy is doing the welding, but he is not using the PPE, means it's observations. He is not using PPE, it's observations. Then gas cutting, he is not using the he is not properly keeping the cylinders, vertical cylinder. It's observations. Then the forklift, jerky operation of forklift from the forklift driver. It's an observation. So this is the risk behavior of these observations made by who? Who will make? The observer he will make. So he will use the data. So how many times he did the same mistakes? How many times Y did the same mistake? How many times Z did the same mistake? So he will use trends and patterns for the data, feeding the data into the computers about the X, Y, Z, and using the trends and patterns. Then after that, the risk behaviors observed the action, what action required to take. The X needs to be where the PP is. Y required to keep the cylinders, gas cylinders in a proper manner. Z, forklift, not jerky operation. So the training needs to be given for 3 of them. The X needs PPE training, Y needs cylinder training, compressed gas cylinder training, and Z required forklift operations training. So that action needs to be taken by the this PBS observer by means of using the data through the computer. He knows how many times the same guy, X guy, how many times did the same mistake, Y guy, how many times did the same mistake, Z guy, how many times he did the same mistake, and based on the use and trends pattern, he for 3 months, these many times, or per month, these many times, the X did the same mistake, Y did the same mistake, Z did the same mistake. Whether any personal issues, whether any company issues, any emotional issues, or psychologically that person looks like this, these are the things he had to analyze based on the data, and then he will take the actions and give the training and give some psychological advice and some consultancy works based on them. He using the data, the BBS observer, he will do the actions. So that is the use data. Then follow. So once the training given, consultation given, then psychological advice given. So after the training, the person is again introduced to the same place for work, for the correction. Then you have to create a plan for action. So plan of action has to be taken, whether it's a repeated or not, and then what are the actions taken between. So you have to take follow-up actions. What action you will take? Before, how many times he did. After the training, after the consultation, how many times he did. Whether he improved or not. Monthly wise, he has to observe and give the data. So follow-up action must be taken by means of the create a plan for an action when in between the before and after the event. Before observation, what will be the problem? After observation actions, how the person's attitude changed, behavior attitude changed, whether changed or not. That is the follow-up action. So then inspect. Inspect means, so once the follow-up action taken, then you have to inspect whether the exact BBS observations going well in the ground or not. That is very important, because if you are not inspecting the things, you cannot know it whether the system properly working in the ground or not. Because if something BBS working good means there should not be any accidents, incidents and loss. So it's a proactive method of safety to prevent any accidents and incidents. So in this case, you have to inspect the persons. For example, you have a checklist required. Inspect checklist required. For example, before the observation A, X, Y, Z. The same checklist you have to put for the X, Y, Z. Then method of evaluation. So whether the same during the gas cutting, whatever he is doing, there is a method of evaluation, and how many times this evaluation, and how he is acting in the ground, what kind of attitude he is, whether he is repeating or not. So every time there is a gas cutting, the X guy. So every time welding, the X guy monitored. Every time gas cutting, Y guy monitored. Every time forklift operations, Z guy monitored. So methods of evaluation first, and usually internally access the effective of the behavior based observations. So this evaluation needs to be internally circulated for the employees also, for the monthly wise, how much improvement is there, what are the area he has to improve, these things internally, this evaluation. For example, the X getting X, Y, Z is there. X getting 7 marks, Y getting 6 marks, then Z getting 8 marks means, so the Z improving, and then this X, Y still needs to be improved. So monthly wise there should be evaluation whether the improvements are there. So the improvement is uptrend means no issues. Downtrend means again he has to give we need to give the training for him. So that is the final motto. So for preventing any accidents and incidents, you have to observe the people keenly. That is very important. So that's why inspecting the people in a proper way of checklist. That checklist evaluating the person, and internally it's to be accessible. Even employees or employee supervisor also, he can access the evaluation forms whether the particular person is improving on safety, behavior based safety. It means there is a behavior risk. In this behavior risk, he is minimizing the risk day by day, and finally it's getting zero, and he become the safely working person. So behavior based observations get a proper results of behavior based safety. That safety is a proactive safety. That safety here prevents the accident from the welding, accident from the gas cutting, accident from the crane work, forklift work. So these three areas needs to be concerned. As like the same thing, if a big organization is there for construction industry, for any kind of oil and gas industry, or major 5,000 people working, 800 people working, so the safety department has a lot of BBS observation persons. So we can call it as observers, BBS observers. These observers, what they will do, they will see the department wise or areas wise how they are behaving. So to eradicating the risk behavior into normal safe behavior, unsafe behavior into safe behavior, that promotes the safety culture, that promotes the safety is there everywhere and prevents the accidents. So that's what BBS is. That is the process of behavior based observations. So thanks for participating. You have any questions in this, just comment me in this comments. So you like all these informations, subscribe and like and share, so we can get lot of health and safety, environment informations, the worldwide, what all going on, the hot topics, and what all you require, you get it through live and the information channels what we have. So you like it, definitely you can share it and subscribe it. Thanks for watching. Keep on watching. We have a tomorrow and day after tomorrow live sessions also available about the BBS. Thanks.